This is what we're going to cover today. We're going to look at key dates for the year group. I'm just going to remind you of our scholar habits, which we've been driving with students in preparation for progress tests. A reminder of some key school messages. I'm going to give you some progress test information, which I know you'll be keen to hear. How we assess their progress tests and our effort criteria as well. And then, like I say, I'm going to go through a bit of the options process. And the reason why I'm doing our options process today is hopefully to give you a lot of answers that you will need to get on the options evening, which means it'll give you more time on the options evening to do what you need to do, which is chat to curriculum areas. Okay, so key dates for year 9 for spring term. So our progress test fortnight begins next Monday and it's for 2 weeks. So we have a 2-week progress test cycle. All of the students have been given this information well before we broke up for the Christmas holidays, but I'll give you a little bit more information in a little bit. We have our options evening on Thursday, the 22nd of January, 6 till 8 p.m. Again, information later, but get in your diary. It's a really, really important evening. And then after that, on Thursday, the 5th of February, we have an online parents' evening. So what we suggest for the parents' evening, our advice is after the options evening, if you sit and chat to your child and think about what subjects they want to take in the future, because if you know they're going to drop drama and never study drama again, there's no point in seeing the drama teacher. Kind of, have the time to speak to the people that you need to speak to. If you've got time to see more, then fine. But it's a really good opportunity to actually have really meaningful conversations after the options evening. Okay. I'm going to whiz through this a little bit because you will have seen this since year 7, really. But it's just a reminder of what we've been driving with the students in form time, in assemblies and around the school. And that is our scholar habits. So I'll just draw your attention to how you can support scholar habits, which our students are amazing at. And I think I said this in the last session. Have a look at their books. They're absolutely beautiful. We do a lot of lesson visits as a year team, and just looking in the books, and the kids are so proud and they're like shoving the book in your face. It's great. But just our advice for parents and carers, just how you can support is where learning is more effective. Ensure that your child is ready for school, so they've got full equipment. There are a few students in year 9 who don't come in school with a bag. So they've not been taking the books home for homework, and they've not got a pencil case or a reading book. Those are the things that you can help your child with. That would be really, really helpful for us as well. Ask them questions. Although I know teenagers don't really want to talk about their school day. Neither does my 6-year-old daughter, so I get it. But try and encourage that. Have a look at their books, even if they don't show you. Have a little look. They are great. So reading, obviously reading is a big drive at Chorlton High School. We know that reading enhances academia. We know that it enhances their reading age. It can have a massive impact on their GCSE results. So ensure that they've got a reading book at home that's age appropriate, and encourage that at home where it's possible, and do it as a family. Okay, I'm just going to whiz through this because I'm just conscious of time. Okay. A reminder of another drive that we've been driving with students, and the idea of sharing this with you is so you can echo it at home, and then they're getting it from both of us. And the idea is that they become a successful student, successful, creative and happy. So our code of conduct is we've only got 3 rules which we drive every day. Be ready, so equipment, on time to school, on time to lessons. You should still be getting your pings home from the year team of how many minutes of learning students have been missing. So if they turn up 5 minutes late for every lesson per day and times that per week, students are missing a lot of learning. And with our lesson structure, the first kind of 5-10 minutes is our recall activity. And in that recall activity, what we're trying to do is get students to have knowledge and information pushed through to their long-term memory. And that's why we have recall in every single subject across the school. if your child is 5-10 minutes late to every lesson, they're missing that opportunity to do the recall and look at prior learning, and bring that knowledge through for what they need in that lesson. So it does have a significant impact on their learning. Oh, hang on. Is anyone else get a clicking sound feeding back? Okay. I wonder if that's me. Is it, how many people are getting a clicking sound or feedback? It might be my phone, actually. Let me put it on flight mode just in case. You never know. I'm not very technical, so I apologise. Okay, so, right. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me click my mic off and back on again. And then hopefully that's fixed everything. Okay, thanks, everyone. So yeah, so we've been really driving punctuality to lessons because, you know, a lot of students will wander around the corridor and go the long way. So we ask them to go the fastest, calmest route to get to their recall activity. It's really, really important. So if you can drive that at home, and when you get the ping, the emails to say how many minutes late your child has been that day, if you can have a conversation with them, we'd really, really appreciate it. We've got our be respectful rule, which is on mutual respect and kindness with each other. We're such a large community with so many different people, so many different backgrounds, and it's about acceptance and being kind to one another. And then our last one is obviously be safe. So be ready, be respectful, be safe online, be safe at no play fighting, looking after each other. Online safety is huge at the minute. We're going to be doing a lot of work this year for the next 2 terms on working with parents, working with students on how to keep yourself safe online. I know that a lot of you will be keen on that, so watch this space, because I'm going to be working with another couple of members of SLT on this, and hopefully get some good training out there. So they are our 3 school rules. So the other things that we've been looking at are away, best and calm kind of agendas. And what they are is mobile phones, as I just said. So we are a no phone school. We have a no phone policy, and the idea is that when they get to school, they turn their phone off or put it on silent, and it is put away in their bag. So they don't have that kind of, you know, that addictive desire to grab it out of the pocket or go to the toilet to text. If they need to contact home, we have a process which is student services. They can go and contact home for whatever reason. That's absolutely fine. But we do really need your help in encouraging them to not use their phones in school, and making sure that they wait until it's the end of the school day before they turn them on. We're not expecting students to not have phones in year 9. We know that they need it for safety, for getting home. But it's important that we kind of drive that at home as well. If we see a phone, we confiscate it and it gets given back at the end of the day. If it's a recurring issue, we ask parents to come and collect it, just to add that extra layer. And then obviously some lessons, like in languages, they share phones or do quizzes. That's fine as long as it's directed by a teacher, but that's extremely rare, especially these days. We have our best. Now, this is a video, but I'm going to skip it, but I will embed it into the recording, which will be online in the next couple of days on the school website. So we've been driving this, and actually, do you know what? Year 9, their uniform is the best out of the school. So that makes me happy because I'm very competitive. But it is. We just had assembly this morning. Everybody was immaculate. There's just a couple of tweaks. So the biggest one for our year group is equipment. Lots of students are attending school with no equipment at all. So if you could just check that, encourage that, make sure it's in their bags, we'd be really grateful. Shirts tucked in. No hoop earrings. Your child will tell you how strict I am on that. And ties to the top. Not suggesting that they have to have the top button done, because I know it's uncomfortable for some, but the knot of the tie being up. So we kind of did a drive on that this morning with them. So yeah, making sure that they look their best, they're smart, and they're ready to learn. I'm skipping the video. And then our other big issue as a year group is calm corridors. So we are 333, I think we are, 34. So we're the biggest year group in the school. We've got an extra 33 students, an extra class. compared to all the other year groups. And when we leave from one corridor to the other, it can be quite tight, and a lot of that isn't their fault. It's the corridor design. Thank you, person who designed this school. But we just need reminders that they walk calmly. If they all walk calmly together, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, and it's safe, and we've got plenty of staff there. But walking on the left, getting to lessons on time, not disrupting other lessons because we have people changing over at different times. So that's just a reminder. But if you can echo that at home, we would be really grateful. And if we call you because they've not been calm and we've had issues with them on the corridor, it would be great if you could support us in this kind of messaging. So thank you for that. Okay, so they're just reminders of what we drive with students in school. We did it this morning in assembly. Oh, sorry, that's the video. Okay, now progress tests. So the progress test starts next Monday, and it's a 2-week cycle. And then they won't have another progress test until the summer term for year 9. So we have 2 progress tests in a year. We used to have 3, and we stripped it down because we felt like it was too much for students and staff. So we've got 2 kind of learning points in the year where we can really reflect and compare between the 2. And the idea is that in the autumn term, they've gained a lot of knowledge in different subjects. And now it's about testing that knowledge. And I suppose it's about kind of you guys talking about well-being at home. A lot of students, particularly in year 9, because they're thinking about the GCSEs next year, they stress about the progress test being the be-all and end-all, but it's just a checkpoint. It's to check in autumn term and year 8 potentially what they've learned, but what they've retained, kind of what information that they've kept in their long-term memory, and then for us to find the gaps. All we're doing with the progress tests is finding the gaps, and then our job as teachers is to fill them. So if we know there's a gap as a class, great, it's easy, we can reteach. If it's individuals, we can kind of teach and do one-to-one intervention. So, you know, it's about reassuring your children that it is a checkpoint, and it's there to be supportive. It's not supposed to be scary. And we've got lots of support in place. We've been running the progress test revision since way before Christmas to give them lots of time to kind of digest it and get ready. So they have their home study booklet, which they got 2 weeks before we broke up for Christmas. It was also emailed out to parents in December. So if you just search your emails to see if you can find it, if not, just let me know. But I just wanted to run through kind of what's in there. So they've got a little progress test timetable for each week. The core progress tests are already populated in it for each year group. Apologies, I've got a year 7 example here, which was an oversight. So each year group will have their own core progress test so that it's spread out. It's spread out for students and it's spread out for staff for marking. And that will already be populated. And then in each lesson, they get their progress test booklet out. And the idea is they fill in when their progress test is for that subject. So, for example, my year 8 drama students today got their booklets out and filled it in. Sorry, year 7. Okay. And this is also on here. They're able to look at how to study and their study habits leading up to it. So if you see on this page, sorry, it's not very clear, but you can see different revision techniques that we've been teaching them are in the booklet. So we've got loads of different easy techniques, for example, revision cards and, you know, testing yourself, that are already in the booklet, but they have been taught to students. They've got a session in the morning, session in the morning with their form tutors on effective revision. So we've been kind of, you know, drilling it into them for a few weeks now. But, you know, I said this to them this morning in assembly. This year and this, you know, that this kind of year from now until July is really, really crucial in getting year 9s prepared for year 10 and 11. So what we want them to do is to be in good study habits, to get into the kind of practice of revising, because revising isn't easy. It really isn't. And some of you love it, some of you don't. I always struggled with revising. I didn't quite know where to start, which is why we've given them loads of tools to get started, really simple, easy strategies to help them retain that knowledge that they need, not just for the progress test, but for future and for life, depending on the subject. So that is in the booklet. We also have on the school website, so each year group has got its own hub, like learning hub. In there, we've got a year 9 page, which has just been starting to be populated with the option stuff. But if you look at the progress test tab, it will tell you for every single subject what they need to revise for this progress test. So you'll see here we've got English and EPR, what I need to know and what I need to revise, and the key terms. So that is the perfect starting point for their revision, over this week and weekend, getting ready for their kind of first year 9 progress tests. So have a little look on that. It's got every subject in there, what they need to revise, and how they can prepare. It's also got links to the revision strategies that we've been teaching them as well. So you can do that at home, which would be great. Okay, so that's our learning hub. This is, I'll show you a link to where it is in a second, but this is the kind of the plan for revision that we've been teaching them. So have a plan, organise your resources, etc. RAG your understanding of keywords, red, amber, green, those kind of, so that would be good on the thing. I'll skip back. If you red, amber, green, this kind of page for English and EPR, you know what you need to revise. If you're really confident with key terms, you leave it. If you've got red for that, that's what you need to be revising. But again, this is what we've been driving in school. It's just so you can echo it at home. So here is the school website, home learning and home study platforms. Like I said, we've got a year 9 area. So just have a little scroll for that and you should be able to find everything that you need. That's the same thing. Okay, right, assessment and reporting. So there is a Loom video that goes alongside this, which I'm not going to show you live now, but we're going to embed it into the PowerPoint when it's put on the school website. It just leaves time for chat now, but we'll make sure it's there. And it just talks you through the assessment process for year 9 and how we report. So we introduced this approach a few years ago for Key Stage 3, and it's how we measure, how students what they've learned in the curriculum area, in each area. And the idea is that we evaluate their attitude, their approach, their learning habits, and we give them an effort grade as well. So you will see that we grade them and kind of assess them in 5 different ways based on these progress tests. So your child will either get an emerging result for each area, for each subject, and obviously it'll be a mix for lots of them. Developing, secure, extending, and exceptional, obviously exceptional being the best. So what we've done here is just break down what that means. Now, it's obviously generic at the minute because I'm talking about all subjects, but we're able to give you more information for each subject as we go through. That information is on the Loom video, which I will embed onto the video. I won't, somebody else will. A student working at emerging level has some knowledge and an emerging understanding of key concepts of the curriculum, okay? So an emerging student will find that learning is a challenge and that the subject content is difficult most of the time. So this is an area, so if your child gets emerging in a subject area, this is an area that you will need to focus on for revision, maybe some after school sessions or some intervention, or maybe just a chat. What you also need to consider is their effort grade. So if a child gets emerging in English and their effort grade is a 1, they're doing absolutely everything that they can to pass this course, to do well. So in that case, if you've got emerging and an effort grade 1, that's all right. It just means that's one of their weaker areas compared to others. If you have emerging with an effort grade 4, which is our lowest effort grade, then you can see they're not putting enough effort in, and that's having an impact on their results. So the effort grade is just as important as the assessment grade. So that's emerging, and then it just kind of staggers up a bit like any criteria we use in education. So a developing student is developing their knowledge as outlined in the curriculum. They're developing understanding of key concepts, but they're not yet secure. They will find lessons hard sometimes, but will be able to grasp many, but probably not all of the key concepts. They will make mistakes, but that's okay. So a developing student. Again, like I say, this is generic for all subjects, and then we hone into different areas in a bit more detail. A secure student has secure knowledge. They've mastered the key concepts and would get things right the majority of the time. All students should be aiming for their knowledge to be at least secure. So that is our kind of where we want to be, kind of, in year 9 at this stage, or certainly by the summer term, depending on their, their path. So it will mean that they're on their target to, their foundation for GCSEs in year 10. So a student who wants to specialise in a certain area should be aiming for secure knowledge. So if you have a think about that with your child and what they want to take next year, in year 10 and 11, what we want to do is in the subject that they're taking as an option, we would want them to be secure or higher. So it's a really good, I suppose, it's a really good tool for you to have chats with your child about where they're going. If they're emerging with an F at 4 and they want to choose it as a GCSE, is it the right choice for them? But I'll go on to that in a little bit more detail in a minute. And then we've got extending. So they're demonstrating that they have a greater depth of understanding and can apply and manipulate knowledge and key concepts. They find it easy to recall their knowledge. They apply their understanding to new contexts in class. If a student maintains their knowledge at this level, they should be looking at studying the subject beyond year 11, certainly in year 10 and 11. And then we have exceptional. Don't have loads of students on this, but we do have some. And we've got a bright year group. A student working at this level is excelling. They are exceptional, excellent knowledge, application, and interplay of the key concepts. Students at this level are incredibly able in a certain discipline and are always quick and accurate. This is a level that will only be reached by 1 to 2% of our student population, but they would be looking at grade 9s in year 11 in that particular area. So that is how we are assessing. Like I said, there is a Loom video which goes into a little bit more detail, but I think I've probably covered it all, but double check. So we make our judgments on the performance and the progress tests in the spring and the summer. Okay. It's a performance on any unit test, and each subject area is different, and each teacher will be able to tell your child what their progress test will look like over the next 2 weeks, because it will be different in different subjects. And that's kind of how we assess them and what we use to measure them to give them that grading. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm in my classroom and the automatic lights have gone off. 1 second. There we go. Sorry, hopefully that doesn't happen again. So that's how we make our judgments. We want to know how well students have learnt the curriculum, so we can find their gaps. We just want to find the gaps so we can fill them. That is the aim. So if you can echo that kind of language at home, hopefully it will help reduce, exam stress and anxiety. This is what the report will look like. So you'll have your subject in the left-hand column, your curriculum statement, which will tell you where they are, their effort in class and their effort in home learning, if it's set kind of like that. It's slightly different in some areas. So you'll get a report like that, and then you will get kind of information on what I've just gone through again. And then if there's any questions, you can just let us know. So that's it for progress tests reporting. The effort criteria is here. I don't know whether, I can't see it on my screen, so I don't know whether you can on yours. But you should be able to kind of load it up. But we've got effort 1 to 4. So excellent effort. I arrive promptly. I'm ready to learn. I'm fully equipped. I display star from the start of the lesson. I ask questions. I listen. I annotate. I take notes. I'm a fully functioning CHS scholar. My progress and success have no limits. Oh, it's very dramatic. So that is excellent effort. 2 is good effort. 3 is requires improvement, and then 4 is poor effort. So this is what we're saying. You need to look at the grading that they've got, the criteria that they've got, and their effort grade, and you'll be able to see. And then once you've got that, you can kind of sit on the parents' evenings, the online parents' evening, and you can talk it through. Like if they really, really wanted to take geography, but they were emerging in an effort 4, that is a conversation to have with the geography teacher on parents' evening. So we've calendared it like that. So you've got this today, you've got the options evening, then you'll get your data report with your child's results from the progress test, and then it's the parents' evening. So you will have all of this information before parents' evening. So it'll give you a good opportunity to have really, really meaningful conversations. Okay, so the options process. So before I move on to options, have we got any questions on anything that I've spoken about so far? Nothing's popped up on chat. I'm just going to pause and see if there's any questions. I don't think there is. Okay, right, so the options process. Some of you might have done this before if you've got older siblings that have gone through. So it's the idea with our options process is that it's so your child has a kind of a pathway, and we kind of tailor it to individual students and groups of students so that they choose the right subjects to get them where they want to be next. I had one of the year nines ask me today, I was like, I really want to be this in the future, but I really don't want to take this subject for GCSE. I was like, it's fine. You know, your GCSEs, you want to be picking something that you're going to be, that you're doing well in now. So when you get that data, that will be really, really helpful. And, you know, something that you're going to enjoy, that you're not choosing it because your friends are, because we have loads of classes. So the chances of them being together is slim. And that, you know, that you're going to have a good time in it. That is the aim, because once you get to college, that's when you kind of, you know, you do what you need to do to get for your career. Unless somebody's 100% certain on their job, that is our advice. Choose something that you're good at, that you enjoy, that you're going to have a nice time in for 2 years. Sorry, I've just got a question. A bit unsure about the test timetable. Okay, so the test timetable have got the course subjects already populated in, and then students have been directed and teachers have been directed for the students to fill it in each lesson this week. So they should be getting that information from their individual teachers and populating it themselves. So it should be in the bag. If that isn't the case, or your student is perhaps maybe a bit disorganised, or you're worried, just email Miss Osborne or Mrs Wilson and we'll do it with them. So we can help. We can do some one-to-one work with them this week. Okay, so no worries. Okay, so what we do is, this is the kind of timeline of the options process. And like I say, this information is usually given on the options night, but I always find that you want that time to go around and speak to curriculum areas and individual teachers. So last term, year 9 had assemblies, a mixture of online and live, with every curriculum leader that has an option, like a pathway. So the head of PE, the head of drama, etc., came in and said, this is my subject, this is why you should take it. If you are taking it for this reason, don't. So given all the kind of misconceptions of individual subjects, and what's brilliant about it, we showed past work of other GCSE students. So that's been really kind of important, because rather than just reading a booklet, they've heard it from the curriculum leaders, that what their subject, and you know, for the coursework subjects like in the arts, they've gone through what the coursework is bit by bit with them and given them examples. So it's been really useful. So that happened last term for all year 9 students during form time and assemblies. This week, you will receive a letter and an options booklet outlining the whole process, basically a version of what I've said now, but you'll get the options booklet. So you will have every option available, what the course is like, what the coursework's like if it's got a coursework subject, what the exams are like, how many exams. For example, you know, drama has 1 exam, computer science has 2 exams, history has 3 exams. And, you know, and that's important to consider when you're thinking about workload, cognitive load at Key Stage 4, of making sure that we've got a really balanced diet, so that it's sustainable in year 10 and 11, especially if your student struggles with exam anxiety and stress and things like that. So you will get that this week, any day now. It's just been proofed, so it should be the next couple of days. Then Thursday, the 22nd of January, like I said, is our year 9 options evening. So it's 6 till 8 o'clock. We will have a head teacher's speech, probably 2, because massive year group. And this is where she will talk about the options process, why we do what we do. And then the best bit about it is our subject marketplace. So that's where every subject, every option area has its own little stand with example student work, videos, an opportunity to chat to the curriculum leader and a couple of teachers
much for your
teach that subject,
and
just
have a lovely
them,
evening. Thanks so much.
A lot of people in drama for me just go, do you think they'll be all right doing it? And the large majority are, yeah, as long as they've got good effort and they're trying the best, absolutely. So, it's your opportunity to have those conversations and for your child to have those conversations. They're always really a little bit nervous at the beginning, but then when the parents go into the head teacher's speech, then they go around and get the confidence and start asking the questions. But the best advice is, do they enjoy it? Are they doing well in it? Could they do it for 2 years and be sat in that classroom and be happy? We want them to be happy and we want them to be successful. So those are really key information. Then after that, you will get your progress test results via email, like I showed you before. And you will be able to see where they are emerging or exceptional or whatever. And then on Thursday, the 5th of February, we have our online parents' evening. So like I say, choose carefully and think about what you want to ask that teacher about your child studying that subject in year 10 and 11. It's a really good opportunity. Then the week commencing the 9th of February, we have options interviews. So myself, Miss Osborne and Mr. Dawson lead on this, where every single student in the year group, so it's going to take a long time with 333 of them, have like a 5-10 minute interview where they talk us through what they want to take. The team that do it, I've done this before a million times, so they know, I want to take this subject because it's easy. There's no easy subjects anymore. The government made sure of that. There's no subjects that are easier than the other. They're all heavily written. They all are kind of, strict routines on their exam practice. So, there's no such thing. I want to take this because my friend's taken it. No. So we have these conversations with them and we know them really well as well from an academic and personal point of view as well, between us, and making sure that they're making the right decisions. We don't take the options form off them. We have that chat, make notes, and then it goes back home for you to have another chat. If you feel like you want to chat to us because you're like, picking dodgy choices, that's absolutely fine. You can contact me and Miss Osborne and Mrs. Wilson, and we will work together to make sure everybody is making the right choices, because some of them do get a little bit giddy. And then the deadline for the options forms to be handed in is Friday the 13th of February, which is the day we break up for February half term. And that's when we close the process. What we do after that is we start constructing the year 9 timetable for next year. Crazy. And looking at classes and making sure that we've got enough students to run a course. If we don't have enough students to run a course, then we won't be able to run it. So we need a certain amount to be able to run it. And then in that case, I would have a one-to-one chat with the individuals and say, we need to look at a different alternative. But that's why we have reserve options, which I'll come on to in a second. Okay, so the questions about this home study, I will reply to you at the end if that's okay, because I suspect I'm going to get, but I won't forget, I promise. Okay, so our Key Stage 4 curriculum. So in core, which every single student has to study, we have English, maths and science. We have core PE and we have respect. So they'll have year 10. So they'll have an hour of respect a week. At the minute, respect and EPR are merged. In year 10, it goes back to an hour a week. We look at things like community, sex ed. We look at things that like how to be a positive citizen, financing, budgeting for the future, that kind of thing. And then core PE, obviously, because that's compulsory. Then we have our EBAC. So all students will pick geography or history. That's 100% of students pick a humanity. And then the large majority of students will pick French or Spanish, and it will be the subject that they are currently studying now. So whatever they are studying now, they will take through to year 10 and 11, unless it's their first language. And then we do tweaks and look at that in a different way. Do kids get told if they have to do 3? Right, so the science question is our favourite question of the year. So the sciences, we obviously have triple science and we have combined science. That decision isn't made until kind of summer term of year 9, and it's decided by the science team. And that's based on your 2 progress tests on their knowledge of the students, and then you will be given that information with the timetable in the summer term. So in summer term, your child will get a timetable for year 10, and it will outline all of the options that they've got and which science they're in. So hopefully that's answered that. Then we have arts. So we ask all students to opt for an art subject. And that comes back to, which Zoe will talk about in a bit more detail in a couple of weeks, making sure that they've got the diet that is right, where it's, you know, it's not all exam focused. We've got the break of a creative subject, and, you know, the results in our creative subjects are outstanding as well. And we get students really good grades, and, you know, they have that kind of break from the heavy writing subject. Not all of the art subjects are like that, because media is heavy writing, but you have got the creativity side of the filming and the analysing newspapers and watching films and analysing. So, you know, it does have that mix. So that's why we encourage all students to take an arts option. And then we have our general option. So you can see in arts, we've got 3D design, craft and design, dance, drama, design tech, media, music tech, which is a BTEC, and photography. So they are all of our art subjects. Then in the general, we've got a mixture. So we've got GCSE business, GCSE computer science, GCSE design tech. We've got BTEC, digital IT. We've got BTEC enterprise, BTEC health and social care. And then we've got food, physical education, RE, and then we've got BTEC sports studies. Plus we've got the arts options that filter into general. So you might take 2 arts. So you might take your E back and 2 arts, that's absolutely fine. Can a child decide not to take a language? That would be a conversation for you and myself on options evening. So, you know, like I say, it's not a one size fits all. We're fully aware of that. But it would just be a conversation based on our knowledge of that child. But we do, the large majority of students do a humanity. All students do a humanity, and the large majority do a language. But just come and grab me. You hopefully will recognise my face. Okay, and then this is the options form. So the options form that they will complete is where option 1 is an art subject, option 2 is humanities, option 3 is a language, and then they have 1 spare general. But like I said, in the general option, they might do another art. So you might have dance in your arts subject, and then music in your general. So you can take 2 arts if you've got an artsy student. If there's any kind of reluctancy on taking an arts at all, again, come and grab me on the options evening and we can chat it through. I'll have a little pad with me. I'll take details and take notes. Most students will get this form. There will be some students who get a slightly different pathway tailored to them based on the data that we've got for your child. But that will come through in the letter that you receive in the next couple of days. So the letter that you receive in the next couple of days will outline the pathway that we think is best for your student. Now, you know your student, you know your child better than us. If you don't think that's the right pathway for them, that's absolutely fine. Just communicate it with us. We're going off our knowledge of them in school, the data that we've got on them so far. We'll obviously have a little bit more data that's accurate, so there might be some tweaks. So, you know, it's kind of like you know, this is what's going to happen, but it can change. So that will be handed in on Friday the 13th of February. And then that's it. It closes. If there's any kind of panics or stresses or worries over the February half term, I've made the wrong decision, it's okay. Just get them to message me on Teams in the holidays, and I can pick it up when I come back, or they can come and see me on first day back. That is absolutely fine. So that's it for the options process. Like I said, on the options evening, you'll get more information from Zoe on our rationale behind it. She'll go over this again just to remind you, because it's a lot of information to take in, especially if you're new to this. And then, like I say, you can go through to the canteen, and all curriculum areas and curriculum leaders and some staff will be there to answer all your questions, show you books, talk you through the course, talk about the complexities of the course and their knowledge of your child and whether they're going to be able to cope on that. You know, and the aim is that we all work together so that your child takes the best options so that they're the most successful, get the best results to go where they want to go. You know, and it is about communication and open conversation, and let's just get it right, because you know, where we've got good communication with parents in year 10, everybody's in the right place. When you start moving classes at the start of the year, it's really disruptive to the child, because we've already started coursework, or we've already started group work, or you know, they've missed a lot of knowledge in 4 weeks in another subject because they're changing, which is why we have such a lengthy process and an intricate process where we interview them, you speak to them, we've got a process, we've got parents evening, we've got this. We you know, we want to get it right. So email us, chat to us, come and see me on options evening. Myself, Miss Osborne, and Mr. Dawson are your key people to go to. But yeah, come and have a chat. That's it from me. I feel like I whizzed. I'm so sorry. I speak so fast. This is what my drama students tell me to slow down, Miss Quinn. So if there is any questions, feel free to put on the chat, and then I will stay for a little bit longer. One question. Is EPR an option? Yeah, EPR is an option in the generals. So you can take EPR, so you take an arts, history or geography, a language, and then EPR would be your general. Absolutely, yeah, it's a great subject with the best results in the school. For Abubakar, I will do that one-to-one if that's okay, just because I don't want to give information on the main chat because there's a few people in it. If that's all right, I can direct message you. But if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will stay here for the next kind of 5-10 minutes. Other than that, thank you so much for attending and for your time. Thanks so much.
Hello. Welcome to this presentation on assessment at Key Stage 3 at Chorlton High School. This presentation is aimed at both students and parents and will help you understand the way that we assess and report in years 7, 8 and 9. My name is Mr. Dawson. I am one of the Deputy Head Teachers here at CHS, and part of my role is working to improve the curriculum and the assessment of the curriculum. At Key Stage 3, we are changing the way that we do things. These changes are mainly to do with how we assess and what we report home to parents. We have replaced our old system, which was based on reporting progress of students. We believe our new system is much better as it focuses on judging how well a student knows the curriculum in each subject. We are looking in detail at how the student is performing in key concepts in each subject, and more on this later. So to start us off, we have a question. What exactly is a curriculum? So a curriculum is made up of all the knowledge, skills and experiences that students will learn and be able to do across each of their subjects. At Chorlton High School, this is represented as a 5-year learning journey across each subject. Our aim is for students to become knowledge rich and move from novice to expert in each subject. In other words, it is everything that is taught and hopefully learned in each classroom at Chorlton High School. So what knowledge is in the curriculum? Knowledge is what students need to be able to be successful in their academic studies, and knowledge in the curriculum can be broken down into 2 main types. These are called declarative knowledge and procedural knowledge. Declarative knowledge is the what. It is the facts, the concepts, or the rules. Procedural knowledge is the how. It produces some kind of action. It is following the steps of a process. Procedural knowledge can also be conditional, meaning it relies on knowledge that has come before. Another way to think of things is that declarative knowledge is key ideas and procedural knowledge is using, applying and critiquing them. So what we are going to do is to ask students' teachers about the knowledge that the students have gained in all of their subjects and ask them the question, how well have you learned the curriculum? How well have the students learned the curriculum? Therefore, this will be a judgment of how much knowledge, both declarative and procedural, students have gained over time. To do this, we are going to assign one of the 5 words you see here to each student in each subject. These words are emerging, developing, secure, extending, and exceptional. The words and what they mean will be slightly different in each subject, as the knowledge and skills needed for each subject differ. I'll now go into more detail on what each of the words mean in general terms. The first word to look at is emerging. A student working at this level has some knowledge and an emerging understanding of key concepts in the curriculum. An emerging student will find that learning is a challenge and that the subject content is difficult most of the time. They need to focus on practicing and learning key concepts so they can move to the next stage, which is developing. A student working at this level is developing their knowledge as outlined in the curriculum. They are developing the understanding of the key concepts, however, they're not yet secure in these. A student here will find lessons hard sometimes, but will be able to grasp many, but probably not all of the key concepts. They will make mistakes, but this is all part of the learning journey as they try to get their knowledge to be secure. And a student working at this level is secure in their knowledge. They have mastered key concepts and would get things right the majority of the time. All students should be aiming for their knowledge to be at least secure, as this will mean they are on target in their Key Stage 3 studies to have a solid foundation of knowledge at the start of their GCSE studies in Year 10. If their knowledge remains secure in Years 10 and Year 11, they will be looking at gaining Grade 5s and access to many of the courses that they want to study at college. A student who would like to specialise in a certain area should be aiming for their knowledge to be more than secure and extending. So a student working at this level is very secure in their knowledge. They are demonstrating that they have a greater depth of understanding and can apply and manipulate knowledge in key concepts. Students at this level often find that they are easily able to recall their knowledge and they learn things relatively easily, especially new things. They are accurate almost all of the time and are often reaching the extension activities in class. If a student maintains their knowledge at this level, they should be looking at studying the subject perhaps beyond Year 11, as they are capable of very high grades indeed. If a student's level is even beyond this level, the student's knowledge will be deemed as exceptional. And a student working at this level is excelling in a level that is exceptional. They display excellent knowledge, application, and the interplay of the key concepts that together demonstrate an academic flair for the subject. Students at this level are incredibly able in a certain discipline and are always quick and always accurate. This is a level that will only be reached by 1 to 2% of our student population, and students at this level should be looking at targeting Grade 9s, which is the highest grade in their Year 11 studies. So what happens over time? As students move through Key Stage 3, the curriculum will also change as it gets broader and more challenging, and our aim is for all students to be at least secure in their knowledge in all subjects. Our teachers work really hard to deliver lessons that enable students to have this knowledge, and they also work tirelessly to support students who will have emerging or developing knowledge. Students who reach extending will be those who put in the extra work often outside the classroom in their home learning and home study, as we know that hard work and focused revision often pays off. So how do we make our judgments? Each subject area in every year group will have their own criteria for the 5 words that we are using to assess the student's knowledge. These will be sent home with any reports to parents, and I'll give you an example in a moment. Teachers will use a variety of evidence to judge where a student's knowledge is up to. They will use a number of factors that are listed here, and one of our large pieces of evidence of a student's performance are our progress tests that take place in the spring 1 half term and the summer 2 half terms. However, we understand that there's more to a student's knowledge than just replicating it on a test, and we take a balanced view of test performance together with the student's ability to communicate their ideas and thoughts through work produced in class and at home, or question answers and conversations had with students in class. Students will get their Key Stage 3 report in the Spring 2 and Summer 2 half terms, and they will look similar to the example shown here. We have a new system for reporting, and this is not yet set up So we are aiming to send something that looks roughly like what you can see here. There are three main parts to reading the table. The first is to look at the curriculum statement for each subject. And the other two pieces of information are the effort grades, one for effort in class and the other for effort at home. I will revisit this table later, but I want to spend a little while giving you an example of how to look at the curriculum statements and how to use the effort grades effectively. And of course, there will be more subjects than just these few that I am showing here. So here's an example of what you may get from each subject. This information, as I said earlier, will be sent home with the reports and will also be available to view on the school website. This is Year 7 and it is food and nutrition, food technology. In red here, this is what has been taught over the course of Year 7 in food. It's broken down into knowledge and skills. Below, you'll see a number of statements that detail what the knowledge judgments look like. I've highlighted this secure knowledge in a yellow box to show what it means to be secure in food in Year 7. What you will see when you look at these sentences is that the more independent the student is, the further right their judgment will be. Class teachers will also help the students understand how to move their knowledge from developing to secure or from secure to extending. They will revisit knowledge toolkits used in most lessons. They will refer to personalised learning checklists that are used in many areas after progress tests to identify a student's individual strengths or areas to concentrate on, and they may direct some specific areas for home learning. Accompanying the curriculum statements, as I mentioned earlier, would be effort, and here is our effort grid. This details what we deem to be the skills and traits demonstrated by our students that will enable them to be CHS scholars. This grid again is on our website in the assessment and reporting area, so you can look at it in more detail then should you wish. Effort grades go from 4, which is poor effort, to 3, which is where effort requires improvement, to 2, which we deem as good effort, to 1, which is excellent effort. The top 8 rows are to do with effort in the classroom, and the bottom 3 rows that are shaded slightly darker are to do for effort in home learning. These effort descriptors are a group of learning and organisational behaviours that will lead to students being a success. And many of these behaviours are things that our students do on a daily basis and have been doing for many, many years. Excellent effort in the blue column is attainable for the majority of students in all they do. For example, they need to arrive promptly and fully equipped to every lesson. They need to show the right focus in lessons by sitting up straight, tracking the teacher, asking and answering questions, and showing respect to others. Student books should be exceptional, with new vocabulary written down and defined, and work presented so that the book can almost be used as a revision aid. Excellent effort by a student is also demonstrating listening skills, working collaboratively as a team, and responding well to feedback. Excellent effort in home learning is similar, but applying these same skills to work completed at home and, of course, handing work in on time. The reason that I talk in detail about effort is that it's something that we are working on all the time in school. Form tutors and the year teams regularly revisit aspects of effort, and we'll go into great detail in one area at once, helping the student to understand just what is expected of them in all lessons. Teachers also reinforce the learning behaviours so they become habits, and the students will do them without thinking. And in my opinion, they are the most important part of the report because there are clear things that we can do in order to help students improve. So let's go back to the example report that I showed earlier. This student has clearly done well in most subjects and has a talent for drama with the effort grades on the curriculum statement of extending. But the student hasn't done so well in science or maths. Could this be that effort in class is not as good as it could be? The student here can put the effort into other subjects, so what's going on? I would certainly have a conversation with the child. Firstly, I would talk about the effort and get the students to think about what they are trying in their subjects that they're doing well in, and are they applying the same effort, the same behaviours, the same habits to their maths and science? Or perhaps maybe the student hasn't grasped some of the concepts in maths and science. So it would be worth to look back at the curricula in these subjects and look at the breakdown of what's been taught and whether the student has grasped it. This will also be supported by the class teacher. So the reports here help guide the support for the student learning. Some students may see these curriculum statements in their effort and be able to work independently on improvement in a few of their areas. Some students may require some support from parents, from teachers or form tutors. All of this is absolutely okay. It's part of the learning process to get the students at Key Stage 3 ready for further subject studies at Key Stage 4. If you would like to know more, please visit the assessment and reporting section of the school website, where all this information will eventually be stored. At the moment, it's under construction, but there'll be much more information on there early to mid-January. That's all from me for the time being. Can I thank you for your time listening to this presentation and, of course, for your continuing support of all of our students. Goodbye.